Hello friends and fellow travelers from the beyonds. How are you today? I hope everything is fine. How you doing, Fred?
I'm doing excellent.
You know, I had, the other day I figured, we had this outdoor market that we have here every once in a while.
Right.
And you always been gracious and you always been there, to help people. And the other day I turned around and you went there, so how do you know whether, some beings came and took you away, or you, you evaporated, or something happened?
It was.
Because I know we're having a little retrograde problem.
Well, we did that. It was
Yeah.
an opposition.
Yeah.
When an opposition comes up, it just slows everything and nothing's going nowhere.
Nothing is. That's
The retrograde was over on the Friday because we had the Mercury retrograde Scorpio. We had the solar eclipse, by the way, it'll last till next April. That was in Scorpio. We had the moon wobble in Scorpio and Saturn in Scorpio. So it took until last Friday before Mercury was totally moving forward. But then came in opposition. I told her, I said, oh, don't do this thing on an opposition. And that's why you notice there weren't many people. And that's what it does.
Yeah. It's a funny thing that we also had. I was standing there talking to one of our a fellow psychic ladies, that we have, because we know a lot of people in that area. And one of the participants in the marketplace came up to me and put his hand out, and she says, "What do you see for me?" Well, I never met this lady. I never told her who I was. Nobody's ever told her who I was. I don't know what she was, how she picked that up, But I was taken back a little, because normally people, come up and they kind of put us all in a jumbo type situation, and what do you see for me? Well, that's the favorite line. What do you see for me? Well, I see a 2x4 coming down on your head, I mean, what do they want from us? So, and I say, well, I see for you, this is what I normally tell them, I see for you whatever you're not looking at. And they stand and they think about it, whatever I'm not looking at. Yeah, that's right, but you might not see that truck that's coming at you right now, but I'm seeing it for you, so they kind of back off a little bit. But anyway, we got a couple of people that need some guidance over here, Fred. And we got one from Texas, from Dallas, Texas, and I was just going to go. Why don't you take that one from Steve McDonald in Texas? Why don't you take that one, and I'll take the next one. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Steve, Mr. McDonald, very interesting questions. Now, I've been doing readings for about 40 years, and it says that I live in Texas, and 37 years old, and never had a reading. I'm thinking about trying a new experience to see what this new year will bring. However, I do have some questions. What exactly would you say is a psychic? The word psychic means seeing, okay? And I don't really like the word myself, and sometimes I change the word around, but the psychic is a seer, and it's what is the difference between a psychic, a clairvoyant, and a medium. Well, the psychic is a seer, and the clairvoyant is you see and kind of hear together, and the medium means someone goes into a trance. And they may be, I do that, but I'm more, I don't go to sleep. The true medium, way back when, went to sleep, and their guides, their teachers in the spirit world comes through them, and they talk to you, and it comes from a very high realm. So depending on what you feel comfortable with, Steve, they're similar, but one is different and the medium is a different one. And your Sagittarius, look, the end of next year, 2014, you're going into a 2.5-year cycle of change, because the planet Saturn, this change is gonna go over your sun for 2.5 years. So I would, just by looking at this, I would say to you, start looking at what you'd like to get rid of in your life. In other words, is it debris of friends? Is it your job? Whatever is coming along there, because that will prepare you as it comes in. And also Saturn on the physical body deals with teeth, by the way. And it gets interesting. And what happens, Steve, look at the 12 signs as entities of guidance and teachers, and the sun is the big kahuna. So all the little different aspects come in, and they force us to go through different periods in our life. And you've already had your Saturn return at 2930, so here's just another aspect to open you up a little bit more. So understand that the medium is someone that either goes to sleep or they're a conscious medium, and their guides come through. Guides, we all have guides, Steve. If we didn't, we'd be in a lot of trouble here. Now, maybe someone you didn't know, and I've been teaching a long time, usually your guide of a higher being, not grandmother and grandpa and little brother, they're around, but a guide goes to guide school, and then they can learn to come forward and work with you. It takes about a year. So you've got a lot going on here. I feel it's going to be, what I can gather here, I have a feeling you're going to have a lot of new things coming, possibly a new job if you want it. I don't know if you're thinking of buying a house, but that seems to be around you as well. So it's real simple. All you do is, when you find the person, do you feel comfortable with him or her? And if you do, that's the one you want to work with, because it's going to be smooth. And be open, because if you shut down the poor person on the other end, which I've been there, it's not fun, because what you do is you block the energy, and we either have to stop it and say we can't do anything, and when you're open, it's fun. And this is, I did this about 3 weeks ago with a lady, and it was so much fun. So you've got some good things coming up in 2014, but at the end of 2014, you're going into that 2.5 year cycle. So I bet you 4 to 1 that you are intuitive, and there goes the word for you. You're intuitive, you're insightful yourself. So lots of luck when you make up your mind who it's going to be.
And you know, I was always been of the belief, Fred, that mediums are not someone that trains for that. A medium, it's all. Most people, believe it or not, most people can be and can act as mediums. Most people.
I've taught it.
Yeah, you know, because it's not like a clairvoyant or a psychic that they have to be wanting to do that. Mm-hmm. A medium doesn't want to have to do that. They can. It's kind of a natural process, really, you know.
Well, you go into an altered state. Okay, when you first feel it, sometimes you get like a little headache or what have you, and then you're wondering what's going on, and then after a while, the universe, God, steps. Now, if all of you have seen, what was it? It was, watch me if I mess this up. Do you remember when Patrick Swayze and all of them shot the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. You saw. I'm gutted at home.
Ghost?
Ghost.
Yeah, Ghost.
You saw what happened to Whoopi Goldberg. That's it.
That's it.
That is it.
Yeah, that's how they really work.
That's how they work. But you want to be a little protective and bring the right ones in.
That's right. You best do that, because you saw there were some bad ones.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
Anyway, Judy. She is coming to us today, and she says, really enjoy the topics you cover. I don't always trust my instinct. Mm-hmm. If there's such a thing, if there's such a thing, you know. Mm-hmm. Or if it's just intuition. You know, how do you tell the difference between feeling, emotions, and true intuition about something? Well, you got a couple of things here that are the same, identical thing.
They are.
You know,
they are the same.
You know, And feelings and intuitions, you can put them together somewhere over here, you know, because to me, a feeling to me is something that I have processed, I have looked at, and I have processed something, a particular action, you know, and from by observing that, I receive a feeling from it, which you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, now what I do about it, it is my emotional output to it. So you got feeling that you're receiving, you know, from an action, that the action is being called, and now you're turning something over, which is an emotion. You know, why is it an emotion? Well, because it's something that makes you react to what just happened. And in basic language, that's how we really work. You know, that's how we really work. We look at somebody, we see what they do, and what is that aura that they're giving us, you know, and from that aura, we get a feeling from that person.
Right.
Then we go back to the person immediately with an emotional output that we just we can't do anything. We cannot get involved in their feelings, because in order for us to get involved in it, if we do get involved in somebody's feeling, then we are trying to control the situation. And a lot of people would want you to do that, but you know, myself personally, I don't do that. You know, I do not want to control. I want them to have their own, the true instinct, their own instinct.
And free will.
And the free will, because if they, like the lady said, what do you see for me? Well, you know, what they're saying is, actually what they're saying is, do you see something that you can control for me? You know, and it doesn't work. So, Judy, you know, sometimes I would say that 90% of the time, go with your gut feeling.
That's the same thing as intuition. That's how I got where I'm at.
That's exactly. That's the same thing with the intuition. You know, an animal, a cat, they say that, well, that's their instinct. You know, you want to know something that a cat doesn't get an instinct, it gets an intuition. That something's going to happen. The prey is going to go this way, or the prey is going to go that way. So it's an intuition. It's not something that and here's another thing, real quick over here, that intuition, the first gut feeling that you get, that is something that everyone is born with. Everyone is born with that.
And if you work with that long enough, then it takes you to the next step. You'll start knowing who's calling on the phone.
Right.
You'll know when you're around a friend if they say something that's correct, and it starts building from there. So it's that first feeling, my dear. And I always teach my students, it's up here. It's not out here, it's here.
It definitely is there. It definitely is there. So anyway, Judy, I hope I answered your question, and I hope we can, you know, hear from you again. And as far as Stephen is concerned, the man gave you the right answers.
And if you want me, Steve, it's 480-421-9740. Many people out there, and whoever it is, you have a pleasant journey and experience.
Same over here. So next time, you know, 2 for the guide. Take care.